Hi, I'm Seamless, and today I'm going to show you how to make this sound. Okay, that was me MIDIing around just there, and oh, look at this, it's a how to bass, and not only that, it's a how to bass about Harmor. I'll quickly run you through the magic going on here. So this is using a superpower that I've basically been ignoring for kind of a long time. I will go through the basics of it by going through a new one. This one's in a patcher because I thought I was going to do more complicated stuff, but nope. So, there's a concept of randomness obs. If you grab yourself a bandpass and then go to your articulator and go to randomness, you can say it, and now it's random. It'll jump around in between the parameter, like where the line is. If you make weird shapes in a line, you're essentially adjusting the likelihood of where in space it'll land based on where the line occupies the most space of. So, where this is going to get sweet is if I make this into a unison thing, it doesn't change the position of the bandpass. It only changes that now there's that bandpass unison. But in the advanced tab, there's some randomness options, and one of the one that we're on right now is per voice, which is to say that when I hit a note, whatever gets triggered by that note all encompasses in terms of one layer of randomness. That's both A and B parts, all of the unison voices, and all of the maps. And then there's per part voice, which is what that sounds like. A and B have different randomnesses. And then there's per unison voice, which is what that sounds like. So now you can see it randomizing in more locations than just the one. So that is the primary element that we're taking advantage of when in creation of this sound. This sound has just a lot of parameters with the randomness engaged, and the collision of these voices is causing it to sound particularly cool. And the reason why this is a superpower is because you could just do this with other random synths. In fact, I usually do this kind of layering if I can't get randomness out of like an individual voice like I am now. And I used to do that with Harmor because I didn't know that you could just do that. Oh yeah, and the same for all maps options means that when I make a map option for something, that like when it goes to randomize the individual unison voice, this thing will be random too. Is that what that means? That can't be what that means. Same for all maps. Same random input for all mappings. Random input. Interesting. Not 100% sure what that meant, but I could have sworn I did when I did that thing that implied I needed the map to be random. Don't remember what, but I think it wasn't even this. It was something else I had done when I was trying to make a manual supersaw panning, and what you do is you set this, and then you have random and non-random maps, and then this is a map because it's not. Yeah, okay. Maybe that might not be what that means at all. Moral of the story, though, is that the reason why this works in Harmor is because everything is very rigidly in the harmonic series. Like you can see, there's all this junk going on, but it is all very happening in exactly originally the same place, no matter what position or choice this ends up as. Everything that can happen can only happen within those harmonics. And then the randomness is just that, okay, well, there's 9 sets of them. What all are they doing? A pretty big one, let's go back to the other Harmor to kind of demonstrate it, is the regular roll phase randomness. Because check this out. If I go to just do 2 voices in unison, you can hear that effect, that like tearing phase cancellation effect, because despite the fact that it's randomizing phases, it's the same randomizing, it's the same random for both those voices. But if I make it per unison, you suddenly get the kind of unison spread that you expect out of a recorded guitar that you play it twice. And now you have that kind of beautifully huge spread. And that's helping tremendously keep this any sensation of balanced. The fact that it's each of these 9 voices, all of them in every single one of the sine waves within all 9 voices together all have a different random start phase. And there's also different random start phase every time they hit a note. And that causes certain things to be other changes. So let's always go through the things that I have randomized for. The first one is these the switch between square and saw. This one's just full random. So every voice is just a random position between these two positions here. And there's 9 of them, so that ends up being an interesting harmonic spread. And like I didn't 100% test these. Like I tested them while I was doing them. I was just like and then changing parameters and just until stuff sounded good. And that's how I got there. But some of them are also things I sort of knew I was gonna do. Like this bandpass business, we showed that the other guy. That was like my test case for like, wait a minute, was that what this means? And I should see a bunch of bandpasses if that's the case. Oh hey, look at that, I do. And I have this super width going on because the thin bandpass is a good way to make it sound like phasery. But if you want to have like coverage, then you spread it out so that it's all kind of overlapping. And here I have velocity mapping, which is a good way to get like variation in tone. So the purpose of this kind of sound, if I were to use it, would be to just be eternally varied, like just all kinds of variations on stuff, because it's just always different, and it always will be. But it can also be used as kind of a main driver bass, because it's different, but all of it's all the same kind of different within the same range every time, that now the difference becomes sort of the quality and the relativity of it, and it's always the same relativity. So always, right? The phaser is a big one. I don't know if I articulated the intensity. Nope, but I definitely did. This on the width. The width is the big one because changing it at all and is just pretty intense effect. And that, so I have a keyboard mapping, even though I'm already keyboard tracking it, which is sort of the same thing. I didn't really need to do that. It's even in opposite directions, so it's like just counterintuitive. Randomizing mapping. I could have sworn I enveloped it. I guess not. Did I randomize this too? Nope. So that's pretty much it for that guy. Is there anything here? I don't think so. What's going on here? Phaser width. Yep, did that. Prism. Oh, yeah. Okay, so this is fun because when you see these maps that have colors in between the line and then the flat line in the middle, that means it's bipolar. So you have a positive and a negative setting. What's fun about this is that what the Prism does is it changes the pitch of the individual harmonics in a particular direction, and then if you go the opposite direction, it goes in the opposite direction. So if you have 9 voices and some of them end up on the opposite side, the phase cancellation is sort of, it would cancel out if the voices were identical, I think. I'm pretty sure the math works out that means it would just be a normal saw. But because of all the other differences we're causing it and whatever, we end up hearing what's left. And that is the cool thing about the shape. And then the shape is whatever. But like the effect is of that like increasing multi-voice difference that clouds their individual kind of sharpness to eventually get to something that is this like complexity machine, but complexity reproducible in a corralled, specific, and controlled way, and also only in the specific harmonic series. And in no way does it bend or break the pitches of it except for where I tell it to, which is in this case the Prism amount here, and also yes, the unison pitch like depth itself. And this is something I didn't even think it didn't occur to me that you could do until kind of recently, that like, yeah, you could set nine voices and you could also change things like you can unison index map these parameters. And does that make a hell of a lot of sense to you? But you can. In this case though, I'm just randomizing them, and that makes them different per note. And it ends up in this case it's just phase, and that means, and this is supposed to be a phase spread. So that just means that per voice, it changes just for the starting phase. And that starting phase is not super, like, just, it's not giving it, like, oh, it's 50% phase now, because 50% phase spread up here would mean that the first through 9th voices all have a specific spread. So the 6th voice that happens to be in that position is going to have the 6th voice position in that spread. And that's what that implies. I just kind of variable this because it being random the way it is and the phasing that we have, it means that every once in a while some of the notes can get pretty lopsided. I just got to dial it in. Yeah, so then I'm using the noise mode on the resonance. And this is something else I'm going to demonstrate with our test Harmor here, because it is a bit of a specific effect. Pardon my face sounds. All right, so that's what that does. It does that is it. Like, you can kind of screw around with the effect, and we also get length, density, and that sort of thing. And individually, that's a very stark and kind of very specific effect, isn't it? And it makes it, even when you're not doing it with a filter, but the value of it like this, though, when you can, because how long that was. That's the width change. It changes how long it takes between it, and you saw the effect of the making it just alteration in this amount. But if I want this kind of digitalness, but I don't want it to be that sharp, there's a bunch of ways I can corral it. One of those ways is just to get blur involved. And then the other way is to do what we've been doing, which is do a bunch of voices, but then randomize the specific location and amount of the width so that you get the spread of activity. So like you now have that like watered effect, and it kind of sounds the way, like, if that original version of it sounded like kind of rain, this kind of sounds like a waterfall, doesn't it? And you can see how the density effect of it is also a product of the resonance value, so this is also why this particular thing gets randomized as well. So that suddenly has a very interesting implications in terms of design of what you could do with different voices if they have different that value applied to it. And that's what I am doing with this guy. It is just on and has different values applied to it. Yep. And there's the phase, pitch thickness, prism amount, phase of width. Yep, so that's all the stuff. So sound, this is a lot of the superpowers I mentioned in this particular sound come from places that I tend not to go. And I tend not to rely on randomness so much, and I then don't see its value too often. And one of the things that I definitely was forced to learn in any amount of time interacting with hardware was that to get decent results out of hardware, you need to get real familiar with randomness. And it's not because of just like a laziness in writing or design, or that you want to just like chaos do the job. It's that you know what the job is, which is that realistic things have a lot more going on than just individual generation of oscillation. And this is sort of how you get it to act like that, by individually correcting like for what parameters have particular sort of realities. So you get this sound, which doesn't sound like anything, right? It doesn't sound like anything real, but it triggers you. It sounds like the most regular Reese kind of distorty whatever deal, but it's got the right amount of dimensional depth and propagation happening, and that's a result of the randomness choice. Not just specifically that there's differences, but that there's differences per note, and that the differences exist within a range, because that's what we're detecting when we discuss about relativity. Relativity is about understanding the external way, the external path, the direction. And when we make a bunch of individual sounds and put them in a row, what we want the sensation to be is that there's an inference of the path. And keeping it that way means doing interesting modulations, but within the range. And the easiest way to do that accomplished wise is just randomness and voice counts. Yeah, I'm real happy with this kind of direction, and I'm kind of experimenting more with this. And I was already trying to use Harmor to do more realistic sounding things, and this is why I encountered this. Because my first I was making clone layers, and I was like, wait, there's got to be a way for randomness to be a real thing. And like I just did a little diligence and realized, oh hell, it's because there totally just is. It just had exactly what I needed this whole time. Isn't that neat? Anyway, if you have any questions about this, please let me know. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and all that good stuff. I have a lesson sale going on all year. I normally have a July sale going, but I just been having that sale happen just for the whole of 2021, basically as a way of helping people get past the COVID times. Oops, I said the word. Go buy monetization for this video. I don't give a fuck. Whatever. Y'all have a nice day.